Hey everyone, I hope you're doing well and staying safe during this time. If you're new here, welcome to the channel. Like I said, thank you so much for checking me out. If you haven't done so, please make sure to hit that subscribe button just right below the video. Cool, thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. And if you're returning, welcome back. Thanks again for your support. I truly do appreciate having you here.
Then Jeremy Hogan put out this video, which I watched this morning. It was good. Go give him a subscribe on his channel. He's at Legal Briefs, and watch that video. He did he went over what's been going on in the court case. I decided I would clip part of it together with something else so that you could see it. Watch this. The first part of this is Jeremy Hogan analyzing a Chris Larson email that was released, part of the evidence, okay, in the case. And the second part is Vitalik Buterin talking about why you should invest in Ethereum. Now, these people have dug all through Ripple stuff, and they haven't even done anything to these guys at Ethereum, and I just wanted to put them side by side so you could just see clearly exactly how absurd all of this is. And it's really illustrated. They even pull Chris Larson's email, and there's nothing there. But meanwhile, you've got out in public Vitalik Buterin and Joseph Lubin saying all kinds of things in their own words that demand an investigation, and they're not doing anything. Listen.
And as Larson responds to Carter's, let's focus on this part, which was the most relevant part from a legal standpoint. Looking at Larson's response email dated February 6, 2017, quote, "We believe XRP is uniquely valuable in the new work we're entering as a bridge currency to initially eliminate inefficiencies in the way payment providers finance payment flows." See white paper. Thus, the strategy of focus on connecting banks serves both emerging trends. The more banks connect through Ripple Connect and ILP, the more demand we should see for XRP as an asset to reduce liquidity costs, close quote. I read that part to you because I think it's the best part for the SEC, and again, it's time to play. Think like a lawyer. What do you think about this email? What do you say? Okay, the email is to an outside investor, but there's nothing in the email to which a reasonable person would infer that Ripple is promising to increase the price of XRP, but it's simply a factual statement that demand for XRP will increase as more banks use Ripple products. You got it, that's the argument, that there's no promise of a price increase in this answer at all.
So it's not the launch that we have, so we are going to start the Ether pre-sale in a couple of weeks. So the Ether pre-sale will be an opportunity for anyone to purchase Ether. For Ether is the internal currency inside of the Ethereum system, so it will be XRP and Ripple. Is there a big window of opportunity for people to get in, or is it just like a one-day opportunity? Yeah, it's something we're thinking of. It might be 45 days, it might be 30, it might be 60 days.
Okay, so it's kind of have sort of an incremental thing, so the earlier you get
the earlier you get in, the better price you get.
Almost sounds like an investment. Then I retweeted this again. This, of course, is the Joseph Lubin helping whales disguise their purchases in the Ethereum sale. And I said, while Brad Garlinghouse and Chris Larson emails are being released to the public, the people behind Ethereum are allowed by Gary Gensler and I know Hester Pierce is supposed to be one of the good guys, but she's not commenting on this either, and she knows it's wrong. And Allison Henley to openly plan and work on the release of Ethereum 2.0, their second security issuance. Where is Congress? Okay, I'm not going to play that. I've played that for you a lot of times. Chinese digital yuan will appear at the Olympics as nearly 90 countries explore central bank digital currencies. This highlights the need for digital money like Bitcoin that's not government controlled. And then there was this from ProCoin News. If they're announcing this publicly, do you think they've already been able to do it? This is an article that says quantum computers could crack Bitcoin's security in the next decade, scientists estimate. Folks, it was never Bitcoin. It was never proof of work. The only thing that the world's financial system is going to be built around is something that's quantum proof. It's not going to be Bitcoin. Because it can be, and these people are stupid. This is one of the many things that is so stupid about this idea that Bitcoin's going to somehow run if that's going to be the financial system. All it takes is one government or one terrorist group coming up with a quantum computer, and they can mine all the Bitcoin just like that. Game over, right? Then they've got all the control of all that. Then they dump it all. How about that? Who's going to build a financial system around that? Okay, Zero Hedge. Bank of America says endgame begins. Global rate shock has triggered tech wreck, recession countdown, and systemic event. That sounds scary. XRP Crypto, well, the Super Bowl is now being called Crypto Bowl as upstart finance firms spend millions. We've been waiting for years now, and 2022 is the year. It's the year of the Crypto Super Bowl ad. Should be interesting to watch. Chamber of Digital Commerce CEO Perian Boring will testify at this Senate Agricultural Committee hearing on 2/9, focusing on regulatory clarity for crypto innovators. Maybe she'll talk about Ripple instead and XRP instead of talking about nothing but Bitcoin every time she goes to one of these things. There's an idea. I'm not going to play this because I don't know if there's copyright stuff here. But this guy, this is an unbelievable. Let me make sure I follow this person. You need to go follow this guy. Crypto Comedy and Art. Flip the Switch. What the graphical thing that was put together here is really amazing. You've got to go watch it. He says flip the switch, but it's an animation of like David Schwartz and Brad Garlinghouse. Really crazy. Go check it out. XRP Bart sent me this one. Just in, Saudi Arabia to invest billions in the blockchain technology. Okay. Now this is the part of the video that I think you'll be pretty amazed by. Okay? Follow me here because here we go. We're going to talk about what I think this is all really about and what's really been going on behind the scenes. Okay? I think Saudi Arabia is ground zero. The Middle East is ground zero for what's going on. Alright? Let's start here. This is the video I showed you yesterday. It's worth showing you again. And I said so many people think Bitcoin, XRP, and digital currencies are about green candles and making money. The stakes are actually much higher. Digital currencies are and always have been about the petrodollar. It was all done to prevent World War III. You need to see this again. You need to see this 1,000 times if you need to understand.
The standard of living of all Americans can be traced back to here, the vast oil-rich deserts of Saudi Arabia. In the early 70s, after the oil crisis happened with the oil embargoes, OPEC basically tripled the price of oil to the Western world. And at that time, America realized that they were vulnerable because they were importing about 70% of all the oil they consumed. To secure a reliable foreign source of oil, U.S. President Richard Nixon sent his Secretary of State and National Security Advisor Henry Kissinger to Saudi Arabia for a secret meeting. The result was a pact that still stands to this day. If Saudi Arabia, which at the time was the world's largest producer of oil, would sell the oil in US dollars, America would defend Saudi Arabia and make sure the House of Saud would stay in power. As a direct result of this US-Saudi agreement, all other oil-producing nations also adopted the dollar as the de facto medium of exchange. Demand for it increased exponentially all over the world, and soon it had a new name, the petrodollar. Your currency is only as strong as the demand for it, just like anything else, the supply and demand. Why the petrodollar is important, it causes a demand for the US dollar. A lot of Americans don't realize that over 70% of all the $100 bills in the world are actually outside of the US. There's more $100 bills in Russia than there are in America. This stockpile of US dollars in countries around the world is because oil is bought and sold using the greenback. If oil starts trading in non-petrodollars, such as gold or a basket of currencies, or if China and Russia start trading in yuan and ruble rather than US dollars, that demand isn't there. And the way of life for the average American will be done. It will be worse than the Great Depression.
I believe that the United States has been planning, they knew that this day would come, and I believe that the whole plan has been in motion maybe for decades, okay? Now look at this down here. This is Julia Chatterley, who will not cover the Ethereum free pass, by the way. I think she's trying to redeem herself a little bit here in this clip, because make no mistake, when she uses the letter X, she is referring to XRP, and all of them know it, okay? Now, but what's important here in this clip is the words that are used by this Christiana, I don't remember how to say her name. Anyway, she runs the IMF, I think. Watch this. Let me hit the refresh so we can watch it.
Part of the innovation that we're seeing is alternatives having to be found because people have felt let down, and we all have to respond to that, whether we're individuals or institutions or governments and beyond. Final quick question, because I have to wrap this up as much as I'd like to keep the conversation going. If we fast forward 5 or maybe 10 years, because I have to give us a bit more time, do you think the US dollar as the world's reserve currency in its current form remains the world's reserve currency?
Listen to what she says. It's very specific.
Do you think digital X, and you can fill it in if you choose to, or probably not, has taken over? Christina, to you first.
Yes, US will be reserve currency in 10 years.
Notice what she said. She says the US will be not the world reserve currency, but a reserve currency. That's what I think this has all been about, is a few things. One, to have some type of a shared reserve currency status. with major currencies around the world. The other is to build a trustless system so that Russia doesn't have to trust the United States or China or anything else. The other, and how would you go about doing that? Well, you would have nodes on the digital currency network. You'd have some in Russia, you'd have some at some of their institutions in China, you'd have some underground nodes, you'd have some on satellites. This is how you would create a society, a financial infrastructure where nobody would have to trust each other. They would not have to trust each other. Okay? So there's that. All right. Now let's move. Now back to all of it was born out of Saudi Arabia. So if you're gonna like the video here just said, Saudi Arabia has had the protection of the United States all of these years, right? So if you're going to get rid of that system, Saudi Arabia's got to be sitting there thinking, and the royal family area has to be thinking, well, how are we going to be protected now if this system as it is goes away? Have you noticed how much time has been spent over in Saudi Arabia by people with Ripple? Saudis, UAE roll out red carpet for crypto as U.S. gives a cold shoulder. This was when, if you remember a few months back, Brad Garlinghouse, I'll never forget it because he's on stage with Mike Novogratz, and Brad Garlinghouse had that, eat you-know-what look on his face. Here's a quote from Brad Garlinghouse. It was in November, I think. I think it's clear the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia wants to be technology and blockchain forward-leaning, Brad Garlinghouse told the Post. This was obvious at the Future Investment Initiative conference. So I decided to go back and look at who, this is something out of Future Investment Initiative, and they had it at the Ritz-Carlton in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, right? So what was interesting is and this is where this is the agenda summit. Welcome to the Metaverse Infrastructure for Citizens of Digital Worlds. And then this was Brad Garlinghouse on stage. I'll play you a little clip here. This is the part where Mike Novogratz is. I'll just let you listen.
You see a very positive trend line overall that I think is going to continue to grow globally because of the benefits to consumers, to the benefits of constituents that governments are representing, whether it's remittance costs in key corridors. It truly is the democratization of money, finance, allowing more people to come into the system.
Do you want to follow up?
Sure, listen, any new industry that changes the world often creates a bubble, right? You had a railroad bubble, you had an internet bubble. It creates a bubble because the story becomes so clear to people that I gotta be part of it. And when you have these manias, these surges of enthusiasm around something, you often get fringe players on the side that take advantage of that enthusiasm. And so it's regulators' job at times to police against that. And they're usually not great at it. And so they have a real role to stop the charlatans, to stop the bad actors. I would tell you the core of this movement, and most of the players aren't bad actors. And that we're not in a bubble yet. We had a little mini bubble in 2017. Now we're actually in a movement. And it's a movement that's gaining speed and legitimacy. And so the crypto community, the guys on stage and our brothers and sisters that are building these businesses didn't do a good enough job, certainly in the United States, but everywhere, educating politicians, educating regulators. That's all changing. And so
This part makes me very angry because remember when Mike Novogratz, just a few days before the Bill Hinman Ethereum Free Pass speech, he predicted that they would say that Ethereum was a security. Now it's not. He predicted exactly what happened. I'd love to see those 63 emails and see if Mike Novogratz ever saw a copy of all those conversations before it went there, because I've got another video clip where he said that his source was, he even said he put a man at Consensus. He had a guy that he put at the offices of Consensus, and that Joe Lubin was his guy to talk to find out what's going on. So he's sitting here acting like these regulators, they've gotten it wrong so far. Actually, all of his buddies are the ones that behind the scenes were the ones engineering all of this for the Ethereum. The way it's been for the last 3 years, you're telling me this guy didn't know? I'm not saying he knew, I'm just saying he knew a lot of people that did know. And he had his man at Consensus. Okay, and he predicted exactly what ended up happening. So maybe he's just got a crystal ball. I don't know. Well, anyway, that's not what I was trying to get at here. But Brad did have the eat you know what look on his face half the time. Now, I was looking around on this this institute that had put this on, and under the What We Do section, they just happened to have exchange. I thought that was interesting. Now, I was looking around on their site as well, and I just happened to see this. So the same organization that is sponsoring this event, one of their partners is Interstellar Labs. Well, I went and looked at Interstellar Labs website, and what Interstellar Labs does is they are trying to they're creating these pods that they call them, and they are, because their goal is to colonize Mars. Well, we know somebody else that's wanting to colonize Mars. That would be Elon Musk of SpaceX. Okay? He's trying to... So, if you click on Interstellar on there, and that name sure does amaze me, doesn't it, you? We'll get there, don't worry. So, here's their little promo video on... Let's see... They're trying to colonize Mars. I wanted to get it to the place where...
What if we could use the same technologies on those planets to build places where life would be preserved? Welcome to a new world.
So that's how they plan to colonize Mars, is by having these pods where people would live in them. You'd be able to grow things in them and all of that, okay? And that's how they could ship these, I guess, to Mars, right? Well, when I saw those pods, it reminded me of something. I've seen something similar to that before. When I saw it was when, you know how many times I've talked about PayPal Galactic on this channel? Well, this is the video where they were announcing PayPal Galactic in 2013. The guy that's announcing it is the guy who later headed up the Libra project at Facebook. But this is the promo they did back when they announced PayPal Galactic in 2013 when he was president of PayPal, David Marcus.
Space travel is in the midst of a major revolution, from space agencies to space tourism to one-day space.
Is that a pod that we're looking at right there? It sure looks like one. It's even got the rounded edges there. But anyway, in their promo, they were using the same kind of thing and my point is that if you're going to colonize Mars, you're going to have an intergalactic currency as well. That was what Greg Kidd called XRP, an intergalactic currency. And it just so happens that I've talked about Stellar before. Their whole website is for XLM. Their whole website is a constellation, and I've always thought that was for a reason. And then you may not know, but they also started Interstellar. So there's an Interstellar Labs, and there's an Interstellar, also part of Stellar, the company, has created Interstellar. And you'll see here Interstellar. There's Mike Kennedy, the CEO, and there's Jed McCaleb. And then we go to SpaceX, right? Because I believe it all goes back to Elon Musk. I think, and remember, don't forget, a bunch of the PayPal Mafia members, the original PayPal people, were investors in Stripe. Stripe was the first major investor in XLM, or in Stellar, and they received 2% of the supply for their investment. Okay? Alright, so I've always believed that it's XRP and it's XLM. These are the two. Okay? Now, SpaceX. Okay, we know we've talked on this channel before. Elon Musk has an obsession with X. His kid, he named his kid X. He owns X.com. Originally, PayPal was called X, or I think X or X.com. He's got a Tesla Model X. He's got X's everywhere. Okay. So I don't think it's a coincidence that these things were named X. I think these people were involved from early on. So I was fiddling around on the SpaceX. You know how when SpaceX launches these satellites, you can watch the satellite launches like this.
9 mission.
And
as you mentioned yesterday, this is particularly exciting launch as we have 2 very important milestones taking place. The first,
pretty fascinating to watch what they do. Anyway, so that's a launch. Now, this one on this particular mission, they are launching because here's what I've thought all along. How many times from both the people at Stellar and the people at Ripple, how many times have you heard them say that we want to bank the unbanked, and I can't remember the exact terminology that they use, but it'll come to me in a minute. But they want to bank the unbanked. In other words, they want to finally bring people who don't have bank accounts into the financial system, and they often use the example out in the middle of Africa, or in the middle of some of these places that have rural areas where there's a lot of poor people that live out in the middle of nowhere, but they haven't had internet access. Well, I believe that's a big part of what SpaceX and the satellites going up has always been about. Is once you get it up there, once you have all these satellites up there, you can bring everybody into the financial system with a phone. And that's why you need an intergalactic currency, hence XRP-XLM. Okay? Now, at the 39-minute mark, it's kind of interesting, but the 39.50, let's say. 39.50, this is Bangladesh, and they start talking about, because this SpaceX mission was to launch Bangladesh's, I think it was their first satellite into outer space. And I think these satellites are for two purposes when it comes to digital currency. I think they're going to put nodes on them so that you have this trustless, that'll be part of the whole thing being trustless. China will be able to have nodes on their satellites. USA could do the same. Bangladesh could have one. But also just to be able to beam the transactions down to rural areas that have not been able to have bank accounts. Now they can have a bank account on their phone. Alright? So listen to what they say about all the things they're going to be able to do, and you can kind of see this unfold.
Can simultaneously be navigated through two stations commissioned at Ghazipur and Bedbunia. Bangabandhu satellite will be able to bring countries like Bangladesh, India, other SAARC countries, even the Philippines, Uzbekistan and Tajikistan. It will simultaneously cater to DTH, VSAT and broadband services, earning for the country a huge revenue in foreign currency. It will be possible to develop a huge number of sectors like telemedicine, e-education, DTH, defense, and disaster management. Especially major breakthrough in telecommunication and broadcast.
Now, did you see the guy out in the field? Let me tell you what that reminded me of. Do you remember the Ripple commercial where they're talking about this right here is where it's at? This is the Ripple commercial. Now, this guy's obviously, he's got an elephant rescue company. He's got his phone. He's out in, obviously, they're trying to paint a picture. He's out in the middle of nowhere. How is he going to transact in digital currency on that phone? The only way he's going to do it is if there is a low orbit satellite that's beaming down signals, and you'll have that's it. That's what this is. That's been the puzzle all along. Why did Ripple have? Why did they have this scene right here? I've said it 1,000 times. I'll say it again.
They got it.
So you got a girl at a wedding. You got an astronaut. How does the money go from that phone to the girl on Earth in a wedding dress?